As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. Let me tell you something that the world sometimes forgets. Strength ain't born from comfort. It's forged in the fire. It's built in the storm. And when it comes to strong women, real strong women, their power doesn't come from privilege. It comes from pain, from pushing through when everything was falling apart, from standing tall when the weight of the world tried to bring them to their knees. See, strong women don't ask for the easy way. They make a way. When doors close, they knock again. And if nobody opens up, they build their own house. Brick by brick, tier by tier, prayer by prayer. You don't become strong by accident. That kind of resilience is earned. It's born in the long nights when the tears fall and no one's watching. It's in the silent battles, those moments where giving up looks easy, but holding on becomes a sacred act. That's where strength lives. You see a woman walk in the room with her head high, grace in her steps, and peace in her eyes. You don't know the wars she's been through. You don't know the demons she's fought, the heartbreaks she's swallowed, the sacrifices she's made without applause, without recognition. A strong woman isn't just someone who smiles when it's sunny. She's the one who dances in the rain. She doesn't need a rescue. She becomes the rescue. She doesn't wait to be crowned. She's already royalty in her spirit. Life may have broken her heart, but it couldn't break her soul. That kind of power, that kind of grace under pressure, that's something divine. You look around this world and you'll see so many trying to define what a woman should be, telling her to be quiet, to sit down, to shrink herself. But the strongest women, the ones who rise from the ashes, they don't listen to that noise. They know who they are. They've earned every inch of their voice, every step of their freedom, every lesson etched into their skin. And when you've walked through pain and come out wiser, when you face betrayal and still choose to love, when you've been knocked down and still rise with dignity, you don't need validation. You already know your worth. This world will try to confuse you, make you think your value lies in how you look, how soft your voice is, how well you fit into someone else's mold. But let me tell you something real. Your power was never in pleasing people. It's in walking in your truth. It's in knowing that your past doesn't define you. How you rise from it does. You could have quit. You could have stayed bitter. You could have let the pain turn you into something dark, but you didn't. You used it. You let it shape you, not shatter you. That's strength. And I want to speak to every woman who's ever been overlooked. Every woman who gave and gave and gave only to be left empty. Every woman who held her family together with love and prayer and sweat and tears while the world barely noticed. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. The seeds you planted in struggle are growing. Maybe not where the world can see them yet, but deep down, they're taking root. And one day, what you sowed in suffering is going to bloom in glory. Strong women don't become strong by avoiding struggle. They step into it. They face it head on. And even when they're afraid, they move forward. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing it scared. It's doing it tired. It's doing it hurt. It's doing it anyway. That's the real flex. That's the quiet, unshakable strength that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. There's something sacred about a woman who's been through the fire and didn't let it burn her spirit. She didn't just survive, she transformed. She used the ashes to rise higher. She learned to speak softer, but with more authority. She became more gentle, but less tolerant of nonsense. She learned to love herself, not just the pretty parts, but the broken parts too. And once a woman falls in love with her healing, once she starts owning her journey and honoring her scars, she becomes unstoppable. Let's stop acting like strength is cold. Real strength can be tender. Real strength can hold a child in one arm and the weight of the world in the other. Real strength can cry and still carry on. Real strength is when a woman gets knocked down by life, by disappointment, by betrayal, and still finds a reason to smile. Still finds the courage to forgive. Still chooses to rise. Every time. See, you can't measure a strong woman by the money in her bank or the title on her desk. That ain't it. You measure her by what she's survived. You measure her by how she treats people who can do nothing for her. You measure her by how she gets back up, how she rebuilds, how she keeps showing up when everything tells her to quit. That's where strength lives, not in perfection, but in persistence. Every woman has a story. Some are told in loud victories, others are whispered in private pain. But behind every strong woman is a version of her that had to learn to believe in herself, had to learn to stop begging to be chosen and start choosing herself. She had to learn that healing is her birthright, not a privilege, that her voice is powerful even when it shakes, that her presence is enough even when it's not applauded. The struggle, it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to show you who you are. You see, diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. And strong women, they're shaped in adversity. So don't curse your struggle. Bless it, because it taught you who you are. It taught you who's really for you. It taught you how to fight, how to pray, how to walk away, how to start over. That pain gave you purpose. That rejection redirected you. That breakdown birthed a breakthrough. People look at strong women and think they were born that way. No, they were made. Made in the silence, made in the shadows, made in the I don't know how I'm going to get through this moments. They were made by showing up when no one else did, by being the anchor in chaos, by turning pain into wisdom. That kind of strength is earned. And it's not loud. It's not arrogant. It's calm. It's grounded. Walks in a room and shifts the energy without saying a word. There's a kind of strength that doesn't always make headlines. It's the strength of a single mother doing everything in her power to provide. It's the strength of a woman rebuilding her life after abuse. It's the strength of a girl who says no when pressure tells her to say yes. It's in the women who work 3 jobs, in the women who chase their dreams while raising families, in the women who bury loved ones and still find the will to live. That's strength. That's what power really looks like. So if you're in a season of struggle right now, I want you to understand something. It's not the end. It's the beginning of your transformation. The storm you're in is preparing you for a victory you can't even imagine yet. But you got to hold on. You got to keep walking, even when it's dark, even when it's lonely. Keep rising, keep believing, because your story doesn't end in the valley. It rises to the mountain. And to every strong woman listening, you don't need to become anyone else. You don't need to apologize for your strength. You don't need to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are not too much. You are not too loud. You are not too emotional. You're exactly who you need to be. And your story is not just survival, it's inspiration. You give others permission to heal, to grow, to rise. You show the world what it means to be powerful and soft, fierce and feminine, bold and beautiful all at once. This world needs more of you, more women who rise not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Women who carry their truth like a crown. Women who lead with love, but stand in strength. Women who don't just survive struggle, they rise from it over and over again. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going. but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. You know, the more you see what a strong woman endures, the more you understand that her strength isn't just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional. It's rooted deep in her soul in places most folks never reach. You don't see the battle she's fought in her mind. You don't see the moments when she sat in her car, gripped the steering wheel, and had to choose between breaking down or driving forward. You don't see the night she went to bed with a broken heart, but still woke up the next morning, fixed breakfast, and faced the world like a warrior. That's the kind of strength you can't fake. That's the kind of strength that can't be taught in a classroom. It's lived, it's earned, it's sacred. The world might try to label her too intense, too independent, too complicated, but labels don't define her, her legacy does. The impact she leaves behind and the heart she touches, the lives she nurtures, the truth she speaks. She may not be the loudest in the room, but her presence is felt. She may not have it all together, but she knows how to hold it down. She's not waiting to be rescued. She's the one pulling others from the flames. And don't confuse her kindness for weakness. A strong woman can hold your hand and call you out at the same time. She can comfort you with one breath and challenge you with the next. That's balance. That's wisdom. That's years of learning how to protect her peace while still showing love. It takes guts to be soft in a hard world. It takes courage to keep your heart open after it's been bruised, and that's exactly what she does. She doesn't let bitterness win. She doesn't let disappointment change her character. She rises above it. And every time she chooses love over hate, grace over revenge, faith over fear, she grows stronger. Some people will never understand the strength it takes to be a woman who shows up every day, not just for herself, but for everyone else, for her kids, for her friends, for her community. It takes stamina to give when your tank is empty. It takes a special kind of fire to keep going when your heart is tired. But she does it not because she's superhuman, but because she's built different. Built with resilience in her bones and purpose in her veins. She's learned that strength doesn't always look like a shout. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, try again tomorrow. Sometimes it's putting one foot in front of the other when everything inside you wants to lie down. Sometimes it's walking away from what you thought you couldn't live without and trusting that something better is coming. That's strength. That's faith in motion. That's a woman who understands that survival isn't the goal. Elevation is. She's learned that not everyone can walk with her. Not everyone deserves access to her because not everyone respects what she's been through. And when you've come through pain, through darkness, through betrayal, you learn to protect your light. You learn to set boundaries like armor, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because peace isn't something you stumble on. It's something you fight for. And she's not afraid to fight for it. She knows the cost of her growth. She knows what it took to become who she is. And because of that, she doesn't settle. Not for half-hearted love, not for shallow friendships, not for spaces that ask her to shrink. She's done playing small. She's done pretending she's not powerful. She's done dimming her light to make others feel comfortable. If her light blinds you, then maybe you weren't meant to walk with her. Because she's done hiding, she's ready to rise in full bloom. People forget that healing isn't pretty, it's messy, it's painful, it's confusing. But she embraced it. She let it break her open. She let it strip away who she thought she was so she could discover who she really is. And in that process, she found gold in the ashes. She found power in her pain. She found beauty in her brokenness. Because healing isn't about returning to who you were. It's about becoming someone wiser, someone freer. Strong women rise, not because they've never been knocked down, but because they refuse to stay there. They've had moments of doubt. They've questioned their worth. They've cried in silence. But every time they found something inside them, a flicker, a spark that refused to go out. That's what kept them moving. That's what kept them climbing. And now when they look in the mirror, they don't just see their reflection, they see their resurrection. You can see it in how they walk. Not rushed, not frantic, but steady, grounded, present. Because when you fought for your peace, you don't let anything take it from you. When you fought for your voice, you speak with intention. When you've rebuilt yourself, you protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You paid too high a price to let nonsense back in. And even though the world may try to silence her, box her in, water her down, she knows her worth. She knows she carries generations of prayers in her spirit. She knows her ancestors fought for her to stand tall. So she honors them with how she lives, with how she refuses to bow to fear, with how she keeps showing up even when it's hard. Some people ask how she does it, how she keeps rising, and the answer is simple. She remembers who she is. She remembers where she's been, and she remembers who's watching. Maybe it's her daughter. Maybe it's a little girl who's looking for someone to believe in. Maybe it's a friend who needs hope. She knows her rise isn't just for her. It's for every woman who thinks she can't rise too. She becomes a living testimony that healing is possible, that joy is possible, that starting over is not a weakness, it's a superpower. You see, when a woman discovers her strength, she doesn't just change her life. She changes. Her voice carries power. Her presence carries peace. Her words lift others out of darkness. She becomes the light, not because she never knew pain, but because she learned how to use it. She didn't run from the fire. She walked through it and came out refined, sharper, bolder, braver. And when you meet a woman like that, you better understand you're standing in the presence of greatness. Not because of her titles, not because of her beauty, but because of her story, because of the way she kept going, because of the way she turned loss into lessons and wounds into wisdom. That's royalty. That's divine strength. That's what rising from struggle looks like. People may talk, they may try to figure her out, but unless they've walked in her shoes, they'll never understand. They'll never know what it took to forgive when she had every reason to stay angry, what it took to love again when her heart was shattered, what it took to dream again when life kept shutting doors. That kind of strength can't be explained. It has to be lived. And let me say this, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to have it all together to be worthy. Your struggle doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you. It gives you the authority to speak life into others, to sit with someone in their pain and say, I've been there, and you'll get through this too. That's what real leaders do. That's what strong women do. They rise, then they reach back. They lift others as they climb because they know what it feels like to walk alone. They know how heavy the burden can be, and they refuse to let another woman carry it by herself. So no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're just beginning to heal or you're already walking in your power, I want you to remember this. Your story matters. Your rise matters. And even if no one else sees it yet, even if you feel invisible in this season, trust that your strength is not in vain. You are becoming every day, through every trial, through every tear, through every breakthrough, you are becoming more of who you were always meant to be. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. So let me leave you with this. If you've been through the fire, if you've cried yourself to sleep, if you've questioned your worth, and still found the strength to get back up, you're already powerful beyond measure. Your struggles didn't break you. They built you. They shaped you into a woman who doesn't just survive, she overcomes. Who doesn't just exist, she evolves. The world may not always recognize your power, but heaven does. And every step you take forward is proof that the story isn't over. You are the storm that learned to dance in the rain. You are the healing someone else is praying to see. You are a living reminder that strong women don't rise in spite of the struggle. They rise because of it. And the next time life tries to push you down, just remember you've already risen before, and you'll do it again. Wiser, unshaken, unstoppable.